Hello boys and girls, good afternoon and welcome to Critical English for grade 7 to 8. Good afternoon Shamar, good afternoon Alia. How are we today?
Good.
Good.
Okay.
Ali, okay. Alright, so today we are going back to the traditional way. Well, not necessarily the traditional way, sort of traditional anyway. And today we're looking at phrases, but we're going to look at prepositional phrase. So our broad topic, phrase or phrases, and today we're looking at prepositional phrase. Now, have you ever seen this concept before? Phrase?
Yes.
And which leads to our first question for discussion. What is a phrase?
A phrase is.
Let me just bring this over here. Yes, what is a phrase?
A phrase is just like saying something, not in a particular way, like how you would say a sentence, but just saying what you're. But just saying.
Just saying what you're saying. You're just saying what you're saying right now. So that can be considered a phrase?
Yeah.
What do you think, Alia? Never heard it before?
Yeah.
Yeah, but so what do you think it means? Or what do you think it has to do with? Nothing coming to mind right now? All right, so a phrase, right, has to do with, so a phrase is a group of words. So we've learned that what? A sentence is a group of words that express a complete thought and makes sense. Isn't that so? Good. Now, a phrase is a group of words that does not express a complete thought. And why is that so? It's either because it's lacking a subject or a verb. Now remember, sentences have to have both subject and verb to express a complete thought. So when we look at phrases are groups of words that act as a part of speech, and so that's the definition we're going to use, but cannot stand alone as a sentence. So it acts as a part of speech, but cannot stand alone as a sentence. So phrases cannot stand alone by themselves. They need other things in the sentences or sentence to make up or to express that complete thought as in the definition of a sentence. Yes? So we're talking about the group of words that can, let's try to write here, group of words acting as a part of speech. I'm going to look at that just now. What part of speech it can act, but cannot stand alone as a sentence. All right, so that's a phrase. Good. Now when we talk about part of speech, we're talking about it acting as a noun. So it can act as a noun, an adjective. What else do you think it may be able to act as? Adverb. Or anything else? Anything else? Verb. And what's on the board? That should have been a giveaway. A preposition. Yes? Given the fact that we are doing prepositional phrase today. All right? So any group of words acting as a part of speech but cannot stand alone as a sentence is considered to be a phrase. All right? So today we're looking at prepositional phrase, and let's go to the exercise. Where do I find it here? No. Right here. And we go here. Good. And let's look at an example. First of a phrase, and then we're going to do, so we're doing two things in one. Yes, we begin with the prepositional phrase, and we're going to see a phrase in as an example. Understand? Yeah? All right. Good. The which, example, the which is on her broom. Now let's say we'd taken out this part of the sentence, right? So we take this part of the sentence out. Can on her broom stand on its own? Does it express a complete thought? On her broom. Or it leaves question in our minds. It leaves question. What are some of those questions that you can ask?
Who is on the broom?
Who is on the broom, right? And so it means therefore that we have a missing what? Subject as well as the verb in this case, isn't that so? Because the which is, yes? And so this is an example. This is an example of a phrase, on her broom. And now when we understand the phrase, on her broom?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. And what is on her broom doing? What part of speech do you think it's acting as?
Is it preposition?
Preposition. Yeah, it begins with a preposition. The which is on her broom. So it begins, of course, with a preposition, on her broom. But this could be considered, if we take out on, we may very well have another type of phrase. All right? So let's look at what a prepositional phrase is, and then we can move from there. So a prepositional phrase, is a group of words, forgive my handwriting, that consists of and so it consists of the following. All right, so the first thing, of course, would be what? What do you think the first thing might be? A prepositional phrase. Preposition, very good. Preposition. Anything else? Anything else? Anything else you can identify? On her broom. On her broom. What's this? Her broom. In the sentence. But what is the noun acting as now? Object of the preposition, right? On her broom. On her broom. Her broom is the object of on, isn't that so? It's telling us what she's on. Remember? What she's on. What answers the question? Her broom. What is the which on? Her broom. So it's the object of the preposition in this phrase. All right? And then last thing would be any modifiers. What are modifiers? Do you know? I think it has an I. Yes, it has an I. Any modifiers. So you've never seen this word modify before? You should have encountered it when you do the part of speech. the part of speeches.
Modifies when
But we're not writing today. Look at us. We just throw back. Yeah, where are books or pens? Sorry, I have no worksheet today. Too many things happening. Yes. So what are modifiers you were saying, Shamar?
I don't know what modifiers, but modifiers are probably words that modifies the sentence, like let's just say explain the sentence better.
So modify are words that account or tell us more about part of speech. In this case, of course, telling us more about the about broom in this case. So let's look at this sentence and talk about what it is. Yeah? So on is the preposition, yes? So this is the preposition. Broom is the object. And what are we left with?
Her.
Her. And what is her doing in this sentence? It's telling us to whom the broom belongs, isn't that so?
Yes.
So it's modifying the object broom. Yes? So in this sentence, it is acting as the modifier. Okay? Once it tells us more about what we're looking at. So we can modify adjectives, adverbs, and in some cases nouns. All right? And then different parts of speech does all of these things. So take this down. And her is the modifier for object. So take that down, and then let's look at another example to see if we understand prepositional phrase. Do you have your phones? You have your phones? You want to flash it instead? Let's use technology to help save time. Yes? So we can flash it, and then we can go back to it when we need to have access to it. Yes? All right, are we done? So you can take off. Good. So I'm going to put 3 phrases on the board, 3 sentences, sorry. And then we're going to try to identify the prepositional phrase to see if we understood what it is, and to add clarity if there is need for clarity. Yes? Shamar and Alia?
Yes.
Still in the studio with me? Or we've gone on to our own things. So let's go. 1. A singer with passion. Can you recall that some time ago I told you to do some revision on your part of speech? Yeah, I sent you to do some revision on your part of speeches, and I told you that you were to do some revision on them because they're the backbone of the language.
Yes.
Yes? All right, so we're going to see how, and remember, I told you everything in language is connected, isn't that so?
Yes.
Everything in language is connected. All right. And thirdly, he acts without thinking. All right, so look at the sentences on the board and see if you can identify the prepositional phrase. Now, what's the first thing we have to look for?
Preposition.
All right, and what are prepositions so that we know that we're on the same page? Preposition are words that do what? Shows what?
Ownership.
Ownership, yes. Relationship, position, all of these things, yes. On the table, under the table. something. Can't tell you the rest because you got to figure it out to do the exercise. All right, so do we have any prepositional phrase in line in sentence 1?
With passion.
With passion, yes. So what do we have here? So what are the things that we're looking for in the prepositional phrase?
The object of preposition.
Preposition.
Yeah.
So the preposition is with. Passion is the object because it's telling us a singer with what? A singer with what?
Passion.
What answers the question?
Passion.
Passion. So it's the object of the preposition. Do we have any modifier in the sentence? In the sorry, not in the sentence. In the phrase?
No.
No, there is no modifier in this phrase. We just have our preposition and the object of the preposition, and a singer with passion. And this here, with passion, is telling us more about this singer, right? But of course it begins with the preposition. Good? With passion, and of course passion is the object of preposition. Let's look at the sentence here. Any prepositional phrase there?
Near London.
Near London. What's the preposition?
Near.
Near, preposition, because it's telling us where, isn't that so?
Yes.
And it's telling us the tongue where.
Near
Near. The tongue is near where? Sorry.
London.
London. So this is the object of the preposition. All right. And the final one. Do we see any prepositional phrase in the final one?
Without thinking.
Without thinking. Any preposition?
Without.
Without what?
Thinking.
Thinking. So thinking is the object of the preposition. All right, so we understand how the prepositional phrase works, right? Good. So we're able to identify the preposition. Now, why are we starting with prepositional phrase? Because from here we can move in to see how these very prepositional phrases can act as another part of speech. All right, what do I mean? Let's look at them. So you can go ahead and flash this, and let's move on to prepositional phrases. The function of prepositional phrases. All right, so we identify the prepositional phrase by doing what?
Finding the preposition.
Finding the preposition, the object of the preposition, and any modifiers if they are between, if they are in the phrase, right? So the modifier would come after the preposition, yes? Between the preposition and the object of the preposition. Now let's look at function of the prepositional phrase. And we have to do the prepositional phrase first so that we're able to make a distinction between all the other phrases, and we have to look at other phrases when we come at the next session. Yes? All right, so function, of course. Now we're moving on to functions of the prepositional phrase. Now, how does it function? So the first thing, it can function as an adjective. So one, as an adjective that modifies a noun. That modifies a noun. Let's look at an example. One example. Do you mean the boy in the corner? So, can we identify the prepositional phrase?
The corner.
The corner?
In the corner.
In the corner. First of all, this is the prepositional phrase. How did we make that identification?
I look for the preposition.
All right, and what's the preposition here?
In.
In, so this is the preposition. Does the preposition have an object?
Yes,
Yes,
the corner.
The corner. In where? The corner. So this is the object. And what is this here doing? The word the.
Modifying.
It's modifying. It's a modifier because it's telling us what? Specifically which corner? The corner. All right? So in preposition modifies the modifies the corner to tell us specifically which corner. The corner. All right? So we've identified this prepositional phrase. But this prepositional phrase now functions to do what? As an adjective that modifies the noun. What do we mean? Remember, adjectives do what? They describe a noun. So it tells us more about the noun. So can we identify the noun in this sentence?
The boy.
The boy. So the boy is the noun. Yeah? And what is in the corner doing for the boy? Is it doing anything there?
Yes, describing, telling you where the boy is.
It's telling us about which boy. Do you mean the boy? Which boy? In the corner. So it's telling us specific, it's adding, giving us more information about the noun. And because it is giving us information about the noun, or it's telling us more about the noun, which part of speech does that?
Adjective. Adjective.
Adjective. So here it is functioning as an adjective. All right? Do we understand that?
Yes.
Yes?
Yes.
Are we sure?
Yes.
All right, so let's try one to see if we understand it. So you've got to tell me how it's functioning, yes?
Yes.
I know. So your exercise. I know the policeman with the radio. All right, so the first thing is to do what? So go ahead and do it and let me see what you've done. And you've got to tell me how it's functioning as an adjective. All right?
We're seeing how it's functioning as the adjective.
Yeah, you've got to identify the... Are you finished, Alia?
Yeah.
All right, so tell me what you did. What's the first thing that we needed to do?
For the
Prepositional phrase. All right. Have you seen any prepositional phrase here?
yeah, with the radio.
With the radio. All right. Let's talk about this here now. So let's go. What's the preposition? What are the three things that we're looking for in the preposition? Prepositional phrase.
Preposition.
Preposition. What's the preposition?
With.
All right. Anything else?
The object.
Object. What's the object?
Radio.
Radio. And we are left with
The modifier.
modifier telling us what radio? The radio. Right? Good. Now, what is this phrase doing? What is this prepositional phrase doing?
It's It's modifying the policeman.
It's modifying the policeman,
The noun.
the noun, the policeman, by telling us
What he's with.
which policeman.
Yeah.
Which policeman, yes? So it modifies so the noun is what?
Policeman.
The policeman is the noun, right? And this phrase, this looks like a W. And this phrase is functioning as an adjective because it's telling us which policeman with the radio. So if we're to go out into the public and we say, I know the policeman, what's the question that we're going to ask? Which policeman? And this phrase helps to tell us more about the noun, the policeman with the radio. All right? Good. Let's see how much time we have remaining. All right. So we have 4 minutes to closing time, and so let's wrap up what we did. So today, are you copying still, Shamar? You okay?
No.
You good?
Yeah.
All right, good. So let's recap what we did, and we'll recap in a very fun way today. Let me take this off the board first. So we're playing drop the bomb, right? Or hot potato, we call it sometimes. So I'm going to put some questions up on the board, and then we're going to pass this very board eraser around. So let me take this off first. So let's look at what we did today. So today we did about 3 things, yes? So the first thing we did was to define
What is a phrase?
a phrase. So we defined a phrase, yes? And then we looked at what is a prepositional phrase, isn't that so?
Yes.
And then we identified parts of the prepositional phrase, yes? Parts of prepositional phrase. And then the final thing was to look at the first function of the prepositional phrase. So those are the 4 things we were able to do today. So let's see how much we've learned. So between the 2 of you, you're going to pass this round, and I'm going to tell you when to stop, and then you pick one of those things to talk about. So start passing. Let's see. All right, go, Alia. Pass it back to him. Pass it back. Keep passing, and stop. All right, go, Shamar. Which one do you want to talk about?
What is a prepositional phrase?
All right, tell us what a prepositional phrase.
Prepositional phrase is describing the phrase. No, describing describing parts of the phrase.
Describing parts of the phrase?
No.
So these two are sort of linked, yeah? They're sort of linked. as well as here. So 3 things in one.
Oh, so it helps describe the phrase on the parts of the phrase on
So what's a phrase? So that's where we've got to start, I think. What's a phrase?
the phrase is a group of words that does not completely express itself.
So it's a group of words that can act as a part of speech and cannot stand alone as a sentence. Agree? Good. And from that now, we're saying that a prepositional phrase is a group of words that consist of 3 things. What are those 3 things? Yes, Alia. Consists of a
preposition, object of the preposition,
yes,
and the modifier.
And the modifier in some cases. All right. So we come back to you, Shamar. What's the first function of the prepositional phrase that we've looked at today?
The first function. Like the parts of it.
No, we've looked at the parts. So the preposition, this part, we've identified this part, and it can function as a particular part of speech. What part of speech is that?
The adjective.
An adjective. And what is it doing?
Describing.
Describing. Another word. Begins with M. Giving you a hint. Alia really wants to help you. You let her help you? Come on, come on. You can do it. So it's an adjective. It functions as an adjective to do what? All right, Alia, let's help him.
Modifies the noun.
To modify the noun. All right, remember? So let's look at what we did. We said a phrase is a group of words that can act as a part of speech, does not express a complete thought, and therefore cannot stand alone as a sentence. And we looked at a prepositional phrase. It's a group of words that consists of the following parts. And what are those parts? Preposition, object of the preposition, modifiers. And we looked at the first function of the prepositional phrase, which is as an adjective to do what, Shamar?
Modify the noun.
To modify the noun. And that is all the time we have for today. Thank you for joining us. Thank you, boys and girls. Thank you, Shamar. Thank you, Alia, and those in the viewing public. And please stay tuned for math, and I will see you next Friday.
Good afternoon again, boys and girls, and welcome to Critical Maths for grade 7 to 8. I hope you had a good weekend and a long weekend to rest, and you would have returned for your English and your mathematics. So for today, we are going to do a little trip during our class. So I just hope that you enjoy it, and at the end you would have learned something, right? So let's go. We're looking at our screens. Screen is up. Ali, you're gonna see the screen properly?
Yeah.
Or you want to switch position? You okay there?
I'll switch.
Okay, go over. Right. So today we're going to be taking a field trip, and it's basically based on measurements, right? You would have had previous knowledge of that word during your primary school age or your even early secondary school, the first term in the first year in secondary school. So, Aliyah, you want to read first?
My favorite part of our trip. I most enjoyed the moment when we took a walk around school's compound perimeter, which has an unusual shape. Composite, compound, or complex. I would have believed that we could have estimated the distance around the compound and the size of it, which is the area, if I hadn't calculated it for myself.
Good. So you wouldn't have believed. Okay, so Shamar, you read it too, because even while you're reading it, I want you to think about some of the things and highlight some of the things in your head, what it's talking about. So read Shamar.
My favorite part of our trip. I most enjoyed the moment when we took a walk around the school's compound in bracket perimeter, which has an unusual shape in bracket composite.
Yeah.
Compound and complex. I wouldn't have believed that we would have estimated the distance around the compound and the size of it in bracket area if I hadn't calculated it for myself.
Good. So even out of that, what would be the subtopics you think we are looking at for today?
The types of measurement.
Measurement, yes, the measurement is the topic.
The distance around something.
The distance around something, and what name would you give to the distance around something?
Perimeter.
Perimeter. All right, so we have the perimeter. What else?
Area.
We have the area.
Compound.
And what the area actually talks about? Even from what you read, pardon?
The size of something.
The size of the entire area, or the shape or so. What else?
And the complex.
All right, so we have the compound, complex, or the composite. What do you understand by that from what you read?
Something that is an unusual shape.
And how would you, in your own words, describe the unusual shape?
It's not a
It's not a what? Because we would have done it before leading up to this.
It's not a polygon.
What about the polygon?
It's not a closed shape.
Remember we did two different types of polygons?
Yeah.
Regular
Regular and
and irregular.
irregular.
Yeah.
So that one would be which one? Regular or irregular?
Irregular.
Irregular. Great. So let's go. Shamar, read.
3 new things I learned.
Okay.
The perimeter of a shape is determined by adding the length of all the sides and the edges enclosing the shape. It is measured in
Linear.
linear units of measurements like centimeters, meter, inches, or feet.
All right. So at the bottom, do you see the perimeter? Where we can locate the perimeter?
Yes, miss.
All right. Alia?
Area. The area is the measure of a flat space or surface.
All right. So, Shamar, take your book. Close your book. Show me the perimeter of your book.
The top.
All right. Do you agree with him? Show her. Show Alia.
The top.
All right. Look at what perimeter is. Look at the diagram that you see for perimeter, and then see if you can show me again what the perimeter would, where the perimeter would be for that book. Aliyah, close your book. You show me the perimeter of your book.
Oh, spaces are wrong.
Shamar, follow?
Yes, miss.
Show me the perimeter of your book. Show me, just show me it on the book. Show me it.
Yeah.
That is all. That's the only part that would be the perimeter.
Around the entire book.
Right, around the entire book. Right, because remember we just read it also. Right, and there is a diagram that's showing you the perimeter representing that. Right. Okay, Aliyah, show me the area of your book.
This.
All right, so Shamar, you were showing me the area first. Right, so Shamar, show me the area of your book.
I'm not sure what they just now.
Show me the area of your book.
Yes.
Exactly, the surface area, right, or the space. Okay, Aliyah, read.
Compound or composite. A composite shape is a 2D shape that is made from a combination of other basic 2D shapes and polygons.
All right, so we see we have a little description there. That is a real compound one, right? But out of that, you can recognize different shapes. Name one of the shapes that you would have recognized there.
Triangle.
A triangle, yes. What else?
Square.
Square, all right. Can be a square if it's not drawn to scale. What else you can be?
Rectangle.
Rectangles, all right. So most of the shapes there, you would have triangles, rectangles, or if you want to say square, depends on how it is drawn, right? Now you have 3 different types of shapes there. So you just can't find the area of that entire shape because you have no set formula for you to do that, right? So you look at the different types of shape and you use the different types of shape, the formulas for the different types of shapes to calculate to find your area, right? Think we understand it?
Yes.
Okay, let's continue. So, what's the 2 basic things we're looking at?
Perimeter.
Perimeter and
Area.
perimeter area of
Compound shape.
compound shape, the irregular shapes. Right. Read Shamar.
Calculate the perimeter of this compound shape. Calculate and label missing lengths.
All right. So we have a compound shape there. Would you agree that that is a compound shape? Huh?
Yes, miss.
Because if you look at it, does it has a regular shape name that you can say? Is it a square? Is it a rectangle? Is it a triangle? Huh?
No, miss.
No. Right? So we cannot say, okay, let's find the area of this shape and we find the area of a L. Because we don't know what would be the formula of a L. Right? So what we do, we're looking at the perimeter for this one here. And the perimeter would be what?
The total distance.
The distance around. So if you look at it, follow along, starting from any part. Call one of the length from any part of the shape. 4. So we have 4. That is one part. What else we have? 3. 6. 5. 10. 8. Count how many parts you have there. 6 parts?
Yes.
You sure? So you would have covered every part if you had to walk around that that shape, right? That compound there. Agree?
Yes.
You would have thought you didn't skip any part. You didn't jump over from one part to the other because you didn't know the distance. So your perimeter, you must know the distance for every part of the shape. The boundaries or the edges, right? You can't skip any. If there is any missing, you have to place it in. If you notice, you have a red line at 6, right?
Yes.
No, that was a missing shape and missing part. Because that was a missing part, you need to know it. What part you would match to suit that one?
Like from shapes from the diagram?
Which part of the diagram you would use to match there?
10.
10. So you have 10 at the bottom. And if you, as you're seeing, if you would observe, you have a red arrow. If you push that red arrow up in line with the 4, you will get the same length from 4. The 4 arrow and the red arrow will be the same length as the parallel line at the bottom. Parallel, the opposite line at the bottom there, right? So that entire line would be equal to 10. But it so happened, let's look at this here. Let's look at this pin. It so happened that the line is not straight here. This part would have came down to the bottom, right? So it's the same length, but just that it's not together. So it's like if you take this line and you push it up here, it would be the same length, right? That completes the line, this 10 line. Say for instance, this is the line at the bottom. Good? Let's close it up. Here. So all we're doing here, this line is coming here. So don't worry the extra lengths, right? So pay attention to that. So if this line is missing, you can recognize the length of this line by using this parallel line and the other one at the top, right? Think you understand?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so what do we do? How do we find the total perimeter? We add all the parts that we would have identified. So we add 4, 3, 6, 5, 10 and 8 and give us a total of 36 cm, right? Because that's the units we use in cm, right?
Yes.
Sketch that quickly. I want you to sketch that because you'll have something else that you need to do, that you need that information.
Which part to sketch? The perimeter?
Yes, the shape and the working.
Also draw the shape.
Yes.
Okay.
Alia, we have a pen and ruler. We have pencils and ruler. Practice. Practice using your rule and your pencil when you have to do any drawing. Avoid the use of pen. You can be creative with using the pen for patterns or designs or markers or so. But in your construction, ensure you're using your pencil. Remember, if there is a missing part, you must find the measurement for that part before you can complete your perimeter working. You cannot, the shape cannot have, if the shape has 6 parts, you must be able to find the measurement for the 6 parts. Not 5 or 4. You must have 6 measurements. The tree, be careful, the tree belongs to that part.
Yes.
Yes. Be careful with that. So your perimeter now will be equal to, when you add everything, all right, let's go. Good. So we have a shape here. Find the perimeter of the compound shape. Would you say that is a compound shape?
Yes.
The entire shape together, right? So, and we know perimeter. How do we find the perimeter?
By adding
The distance around. So we'll do it together on the board. So how many parts? Count how many parts you have. How many lines? How many sides? 8. All right, you're saying 8. Let's see. So we have perimeter equal, call one of the dimension, 12 meter.
3,
We have 3. Yes. 7. Correct. Continue.
6,
6. Yes.
10,
10.
3,
3. Yes.
15,
15.
yeah,
15. Yes.
12,
12. Anything else?
no,
No. Why not 5?
because that's inside.
That's inside. Great. Now, do we have all the parts accounted for? We had any missing part there?
No,
No missing part. That's a lucky one. So we had no missing part here. So we can add this up. Right? So we can add it up in pieces. Let's go. 12 and 3.
15,
7 and 6.
30.
10 and 3.
13,
15 and 12.
27.
27. Great. Good. We're just adding it in pieces so that we can get. So now we have 15 and 13.
28.
28. Great. Then we have 13 and 27.
41.
41. Sure.
17, 49,
7 and 3.
7 and 3 is 9.
7 and 3.
Yes. 7, 3,
40.
7 and 3.
7,
30. 10.
10. And this would make us giving us 40. Great. No, we're not finished. Answer.
60
Great.
meters.
Right? So we would have just completed finding the perimeter of that compound shape. We safe here? Understood?
Yes,
yes,
miss.
Sure? Clear?
Yes.
All right. So here what's going to happen. You're not going to copy this now. But that's something you will be doing back for homework. Because you'll do it back. Try to remember it. Right? So I'll send that information to you. So let's continue. Good. So let's look here at the area. Remember we said the area is the surface space, right? So we want to know the size of the surface piece. And in the shape given, do you have a compound shape or one normal shape? You have a compound. And your compound shape can be split into how many shapes? Two. What are the two shapes? Two rectangles. Now, mind you, that compound shape can be split into more than two shapes. One. And two, it can be shapes cut into different types of shape. So we have here good. This one that you're given is cut like this, right?
Yes, miss.
I can do this. I can cut it like this.
Yes, miss.
I can also cut it back here and have 3 instead of 2, right?
Yes.
So, but why find 1, 2, 3 parts when we can just find 2 parts, right? But it doesn't matter. If you found 3 parts and you add it together, you'll get an answer. If you find 2 parts and you add it together, you'll get another answer. And if you find the other 2 parts and you add it together, you'll get the answer. All the answers must be the same, right? Because it's the same shape. It's just that you divide it differently to calculate, right? So let's look at what you're given then. So we have these 2 parts. And we have the dimensions, so let's look there. Dimensions, we have 6 and 4. And if you separate the rectangle 6 and 4, and something I would always advise you to do is when you have those compound shapes, separate your different shapes so that you can see visually what you're working with, right? So we have 6 and 4, and we know it's a rectangle. What's the formula for rectangle?
Length plus width.
Length times width, right? So 6 by 4, 6 multiplied by 4 will give us 24. And then we have 2 by 3. Same length plus length times width. When we multiply 2 by 3, we get 6. Because it's one shape, we need to add it back together. So when we add 24 and 6, our new area would become 30 cm squared. The cm squared is in place because of the multiplication of the cms, right? You would have multiplied several cms. Good? So, area, we have 2 rectangles. We find the area of the 2 rectangles and we add them together. We get our total area for our compound shape. Follow that?
Yes, miss.
All right. Sure?
Yes, miss.
For the sake of time, let's look at this other one. So, you don't have to copy that. Same shape that we had before. Tell me the dimension of one of the shapes that separated. What's the dimension?
5.
5? You sure we have a 5? From there. We have a 5? Okay, 5 and what? Oh, tell me the dimension for the one at the top.
12.
12 and?
12, 3 and 7.
12. No, only 2 I need. 12 and?
3.
Sure?
12 and 7.
12 and 3.
Good.
Pay attention to the shape that I'm using. Okay, this middle one?
6 and 12.
6 and?
12.
Sure?
6 and 5.
6 and 5. Remember 12 is the whole line. And the bottom?
15.
15 and?
3.
3. Seeing that, Shamar?
Yes, miss.
So we have 3 areas here, right? So we need to find, and all of them are rectangles. So we find the area of rectangles. Length by width. But we have 3 different ones, right? So let's go. First area. 12 times 3. Second.
5 times.
5 times.
6.
Third. 15 times.
3.
Great. 12 trees.
36.
36. Because 3 2, 6, and 3 1s, 3. Good. 5 6.
36.
5 6.
30.
30. Yes. And 15 trees. 15 by 5. Sorry, 3 5s.
50.
15, 3 1s,
3.
and 1.
2. 4.
4. Alright, so let's add up now. Could we add all together or we add in pieces? Let's add in pieces. 13, 36 and 30 give you?
66.
Great. Good. 66 and 45 now.
100 and...
Alright. 100 and... Let's look at here. 6 and 5.
11.
11. 6 and 4.
10.
And 1.
11.
So we have our complete answer now. Right? So what we did actually to find the total area?
We look.
We multiply.
Even before that.
We looked at
Pardon?
We divided the shape.
We divided the shape and we found the area of each shape. Right? It so happened that all these shapes are the same. So we just need one of the formulas that we know. Formula for the area of a rectangle. So we divided the shape, we found the areas of all the shapes, and then we added it up to find the total surface area. Right? So, what are the things we would have accomplished for this afternoon? Aliyah, read.
Area. Area refers to the space occupied by a shape or an object or a surface.
Continue.
Area is measured in square units. For example, if the dimensions are in inches, then the area is expressed as square inches. Example, area of a square park is side of park x side of park or side square.
Because you know, if you're an area of the square, we know is L by L or L square, right? So it's just saying the side of the park, by the side of the park, right? Shamar.
Perimeter. Perimeter refers to the measurement of the length of the outer line or boundary or of a shape, an object or a surface. Perimeter is measured in linear.
Yes, linear units.
Linear units, for example, if the dimensions are in inches, then the perimeter is expressed as inches. Example of the perimeter.
The perimeter of a square park is the sum of all the 4 sides of the park, or 4 by side. Remember, the perimeter is the distance around. So we know a square, all the sides are equal. So we can either add all the 4 sides, or we can multiply 4 by one of the sides. Right? And we'll get the same answer. So that is all that we were saying. Right? So, how was your field trip?
Good.
So you had a field trip on perimeter and area under the broad topic of measurement. Right? So, as I said to you, when you're looking at your perimeter, ensure you have all your sides accounted for, all your parts or boundaries accounted for before you sum up your answer. And for the area, for the compound or composite shape, you divide your shape into smaller shapes. You identify what type of shape, use the formula, find the area of the different shapes that you have, and add all up to get your total area. Right? So I hope you would have accomplished something for this afternoon, and you leave remembering something on perimeter and area. When you go back into class, you will be able to use it effectively, and We'll see you on Friday for English, critical English and mathematics. Do enjoy your afternoon.